This month I'll be covering a pair of sequel films to 2 movies I reviewed, and the first one is a movie I didn't include in the last bonus objective poll, The Land Before Time 2. Originally, I was going to do a couple videos covering more salty, but I changed my mind and we'll hold off on that. Anyway, Land Before Time. Because Don Bluth didn't go with his original ending of the Dino Kids dying and going to heaven, Universal Pictures wanted to spin that movie into a franchise. We're talking 14 sequel films and a TV series, with the last movie released in 2016, 28 years after the movie that started it all. And no, I am not going over all 14 sequel films. At most, I'll cover up to number 6, and today you get the very first one. This came out on VHS in 1994. By then, Universal Animation Studios, or Universal Cartoon Studios at the time, took full control of production, and Don Bluth would have nothing to do with it. Instead, we have Roy Allen Smith as director, who'd also do Land Before Time 3 and 4. Same with writer Dev Ross. Now, I think these sequel movies will be a notch above what we saw from the Swan Princess franchise, but how much better? Let's find out. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-da-doo. Yeah, gotta start flashy with some shots of space. We have John Ingle narrating about the time of the dinosaurs and treating it rather respectively.
Millions of years before the first humans was the age of the great lizards, the dinosaurs.
He recaps the first movie with how some dinosaurs found the Great Valley. We then shift over to the main cast of kids, and the voice cast is a little different this time around. Littlefoot is now voiced by Scott McAfee, aka the bully kid from A Kid's Guide to Courage. Ducky is now voiced by Heather Hogan, replacing Judith Barcy for reasons that I hope are obvious to you. Spike now has Rob Paulsen. Petrie would now be voiced by Jeff Bennett for the rest of the series, and Sarah would still be voiced by Candace Hudson until movie 5. Also, this movie does something unseen from the first movie. Song sequences.
Can you hear me calling?
Calling.
It's time to play.
No, sorry. Reception gets bad going past the AD era. It's definitely clear that these sequel movies take a more lighthearted approach to storytelling versus the bleaker plot from the first movie. Like when we're introduced to 2 antagonists, Ozzy and Strut, voiced by Jeff Bennett and Rob Paulsen respectively.
Then what are we going to eat, Ozzy?
Eggs, dear brother. Eggs.
It's weird seeing Jeff voice someone named Ozzy, though at least Rob Paulsen was also in Ozzy and Drix. Either way, they're the bad guys because they want food. Littlefoot gets called by his grandpa to eat. He's voiced by Kenneth Mars, aka King Triton from The Little Mermaid. Grandma, as we'll see later, is voiced by Linda Gary. Littlefoot tries emulating his grandpa by bending a tree, but he gets yeeted for his troubles. So, if he didn't do that, would Littlefoot have died or get really bad burns?
You're still very young, but you will get the hang of it someday.
Obviously, with the change in studios, the smooth animation from Don Bluth makes way for sorta bland territory. Like, it's not the worst out there, but it tends to lead to some mistakes. Many more noticeable than others. Now, when you're a dino kid, what would one do besides play fighting like regular animals? Well, we get an example as Ozzy attempts to steal an egg.
Hey, you kids! Stop rolling those rocks down the hill! My nest is in there!
Sorry.
Hey, be glad they saved your nest, not that you noticed the dumbasses. So yeah, they're bored and don't know what to do.
It wasn't much fun anyway. Yep. No fun at all.
As a reminder, this is how Ducky usually speaks. Kinda like Kasuri from 100 Girlfriends.
Just teamed up and find out, yep. We can go to the shelter and grab.
Of course, Littlefoot has reservations on playing in a place that happens to be across the sinking sand, aka a tar pit. What is that doing in this supposed paradise? But they dealt with it once, so what's the worst that can happen?
Phew. See? Whoa!
Oh boy! The others try saving her, but they all fall in.
We can make it! Littlefoot! Yeah, let's go! Let's go! And run around, run around. What a beautiful feeling we finally found.
Well, how bold of them to kill off the cast like that. Okay, no. Grandpa does pull them out, as all the parents heard them crying. The kids are safe, but the parents are sure to scold them. But first, to make sure this doesn't happen again.
That should do it.
Later we see Ozzy complain about not getting his egg meal and sings a song about it.
When I wake up, first thing I do, eggs, is to look around for something to chew. Exactly.
Look, stop singing your lame song and learn to just eat your damn veggies. Yeah, songs tend to be on the mixed side. They're clearly following the Disney formula without being anywhere near as good. In this case, it's for a character with a goddamn egg obsession, because equating basic survival to villainy is common in these films. So while they go off to hunt, Littlefoot's grandparents talk about how they don't want to lose him, but he complains about how hard it is being so little. This is part of the main conflict for him and his friends about wanting to grow up faster and be more adult-like. But Grandma has a good point.
You'll grow up faster than you think. Be patient. Enjoy being young while it lasts.
We'll get back to that. Once the adults leave, Sarah calls Littlefoot to come meet her at some hangout with the others. She brings up how they all heard the same lecture.
Me too young to wander far.
We are not grown-ups and should remember it.
There are many dangers. I must always be careful.
Don't hang around with long necks, big faces, and spike tails.
Oh god, your father's a racist. Yeah, Topsy, also voiced by John Engel, acts more like a typical animal would. Although it's kind of unfortunate then that we can understand him since, well, they all seem like they're intelligent otherwise. Anyway, Sarah believes they should do something to be taken more seriously by the adults. Her idea?
We could run away from home.
Where we run?
We could just stay here.
You live in a closed community, essentially. It shouldn't take much effort for them to find you, but they spy Ozzy and Strut running off with an egg they stole from Ducky's nest. Sarah suggests they go after the thieves themselves.
I don't know.
Look, Scaredy. There's 5 of us and only 2 of them. What could go wrong?
Well, they clearly have sharp claws that they can use to maim, murder, and maybe eat you. But the kids chase after them anyway. The villains run toward the direction of the mysterious beyond, and now Littlefoot takes charge, since Sarah almost backs out given her tough gal, soft child mentality. The villains jump over a gorge, and the kids follow suit. Considering at least one of them is tiny and can't really jump far, surely this won't lead to...
Ducky! Don't worry. I got her. You mean I got you?
I nearly died. Yup. They eventually go inside the caverns, and Ozzy drops the egg and goes looking for it. They're all idiots. Sarah crashes into some rocks, which causes a rock slide. And then in one of the most illogical sequences ever, the egg just rolls all the way back down to the nest it came from. Given how far they were from the Great Wall, how the frick did it get back in one piece?
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
The kids end up on the other end of the wall, back in the mysterious beyond. Somehow it looks creepier than in the first movie, but that's a good thing. While the movie maintains its more lighthearted approach to things, it at least acknowledges how this world can still be dangerous, especially outside home. But in any case, it's pretty scary out here, so let's just go home.
But what about the egg?
I'm afraid it got smushed.
Bye-bye, baby sister. Or baby brother.
I think the movie might be on the pro-life side of things, But then they find one egg and mistake it for the one they're looking for, despite it being much bigger. They carry it home, only to realize that the egg they were looking for is back. They debate over what to do with the new egg. Littlefoot thinks to bring it to the adults, but Sarah objects. Just sleep on the question.
Littlefoot, wake up, sleepyhead. The bright circle is already rising into the sky.
The villains wake up and realize that the kids have the egg, so they gotta get back. In the meantime, said kids wonder what kind of baby will hatch from it, and sure enough, they get their answer. But what is it?
It's a...
Sharptooth!
I don't see the big deal. It's just a baby Yoshi. Littlefoot's the last to get away, but he quickly comes back upon realizing that the little baby is not at all dangerous. He takes a liking to him and decides to name him Chomper.
Chomper! I guess you're hungry, huh?
Chomper doesn't seem to eat plants, so Littlefoot decides to consult his grandparents. Of course, no one watches Chomper as he decides to go off for another bug. Great parenting. Anyway, how's Littlefoot gonna bring up the question?
I want to know about babies.
Well, you see, when a mommy dinosaur and a daddy dinosaur love each other very much, they...
Littlefoot, you're too young to worry about babies.
Okay, but he really asks about how do you feed babies that don't want to eat? And the answer given is, even if they don't want to eat something, they'll have to anyway since they're hungry. Stuff like that. Afterwards, the kids return to the hatching site and think Littlefoot got eaten. And this is when the villains decide to attack. They run off right as Littlefoot returns to find no one. He later finds Chomper over by the sinking sands, and the newcomer gets scolded. But now Littlefoot probably realizes that he's doing to Chomper what his parents did to him. Then he hears his friends in trouble and goes to rescue them.
Now, what did you do with my egg?
Your egg? We didn't do anything to it. It hatched.
It hatched!
You were there! You saw it hatch! Before Rozzy can push them off, Littlefoot arrives and... Great help there! But then Chomper's large shadow appears, which causes the villains to flee. Now the kids can properly meet him and realize that he's no threat to them.
As an egg, you were a beauty, but now you're a real cutie, and we brought you to our valley somehow.
We're a family and you're one of us now. We're a family and you're one of us now.
Kind of a shoddy segue, but whatever. The song's alright. Sadly, it ends with Chomper biting into Sarah's tail, so everyone is wary again. The kids handle it so poorly that Chomper is saddened and just leaves. Littlefoot wants to follow him, but the others are unsure since...
Chomper is different than us.
I don't care if he's different. We should at least follow him to make sure he doesn't get hurt.
I mean, besides the two dumbasses and the environmental hazards, it's not like anything else is gonna come through the wall. Well, shoot! The kids go looking for Chomper and eventually find him near a volcano? I mean, it's really small, yet it makes me further question the geography of this place. The villains find another nest of eggs but get spooked by the kids, who were yelling from afar. And it seems like they found the stairway to heaven. And I guess when you're a dinosaur, sulfuric gas doesn't bother you. But the kids get cornered by the villains, and Sarah tries getting out of it by claiming to have a sharp-tooth friend. At first, the ruse works, but...
But Ozzy, we saw a sharp-toothed shadow. That's good enough for me.
Boy, are you dumb. That scary shadow wasn't a big sharp tooth. It was just a baby.
Sarah, you dumbass! Well, at least the volcano eruption gives everyone the chance to flee. If volcanic eruptions are this common in the Great Valley, how is this a paradise? Anyway, Chomper comes back and actually bites Strut before running to his friends. To escape the lava, Littlefoot sees a small tree to knock over and cover everyone's escape. Ozzy tries crossing too, but...
Ozzy, wait for me!
If the fall doesn't kill them, the lava might. Speaking of, who should show up right at this point but the pair of Rexes we saw? Right in the general area of the lava. How are they not being burnt? What's better than one scary T-Rex? How about two scary T-Rexes? When the kids have a moment of reprieve, Littlefoot realizes that the sharp teeth got in because of the hole in the wall they caused this morning. Oops! Said sharp teeth actually attacked Grandpa and he almost dies. But then Petrie comes to the rescue? Why are you helping? Oh wait, that's your mother. She just had your color scheme for a moment. But yeah, aside from the kids helping in little ways, the adults do get a moment to kick ass and drive the predators away. The kids reunite with their parents, but Chomper feels left out and leaves. Probably a good thing, or else Topsy might have done something to him. Then again, given that Chomper is in the TV show, maybe they reined in Topsy enough so that he doesn't attack the kid on sight. Anyway, there's still the matter of how the sharp teeth got in, so the kids fess up about what happened last night. But before they can bring up Chomper, the parents leave to plug up the Great Wall. Littlefoot goes out looking for Chomper, and after he finds him, they run from the sharp teeth again. Looks like curtains for them, but Chomper approaches them and even roars at them, leading to...
Don't! I think there is Mama and Papa.
It's a good thing Chomper is somehow able to recognize them as his parents, despite never seeing them or getting their scent to know for sure. And then they leave, and Littlefoot is at least relieved that Chomper now has his family back. Unfortunately, this is right when Ozzy and Strut catch him. They plan to drop the kid off a ledge, even though they can just use their claws to slice him to death. But then that'd be too much for a kid's movie, I guess. Chomper overhears them and tries intervening. That fails, but luckily the parents show up to chase the two imbeciles into the mysterious beyond, where we'll never see them again, outside of a possible cameo in the fourth movie. Littlefoot sees the adults coming and tells Chomper he needs to skedaddle. It's a sad farewell for him, and just as his other friends show up to say goodbye as well.
Bye, Chomper.
Anyway, he finally tells Grandpa that the sharp teeth are gone. He doesn't bring up Chomper, of course. And while he did disobey orders to stay put, at least he learned something.
That means you'll stay close to the herd.
The lesson is, never venture outside the boundaries of your community due to your fear of the unknown. Okay, it's more about living up your childhood for as long as possible, while learning about the world around you in preparation for adulthood. The movie winds down with a reprise of the first song, as we see various eggs hatching and providing more siblings to all but Littlefoot. There's also typical animal behavior and a primordial speed. Maybe one of the other animation studios did this movie as well. But yeah, that's it. This movie is okay. But like so many sequel movies I've covered, it's also unnecessary. Despite the shift in tones between movies, at least it acknowledges the ever-present danger of the prehistoric setting. There are real threats to the children that can and will happen, so the theme of not growing up too fast is appropriate. The kids already experienced quite an ordeal in the first movie, so they deserve some kind of reprieve. We still have some form of character growth, especially with the kids needing to raise a literal newborn that isn't of their kind. It isn't always about trying to be too funny either, despite it being a lot lighter than the first Land Before Time. So this could have been a pretty acceptable follow-up if it didn't include music sequences that will stay in for the rest of the sequels. That alone makes me worried about the movies after this one, but that's another story for another day. For now, the other sequel I'm doing next is for an Australian movie we covered a while back. See you down under! And no, it's not Disney related.
Yeah, let's go and run around, run around. What a beautiful feeling. We finally found a peaceful valley, and everybody's having a good time now.
So now I've gone cross-eyed.